the Dallas Mavericks having the worst season in NBA history? The 1973 76ers went 9-73 in a 17-team NBA, the most losses by any team ever. But I would argue that the Mavs are actually having a worse year. Not only have they lost Luka Doncic in a trade that may go down as the worst in NBA history, not only have the Lakers now won 6 straight games with Luka and are second place in the Western Conference, but also the Mavs supposedly made these moves in order to go all in on winning now. And I would argue Luka led them to the finals last year. He was their path to winning now, but even if he wasn't, shortly after the Luka trade, Anthony Davis went down with an injury that he at first said would be small.
Came back, try to get it loose, but it's nothing, serious. I'm fine.
Now it is possible he won't play another game this season. To make things even worse, Kyrie Irving just tore his ACL, and we have to question, will Kyrie ever be the same player again? So today we are going to look at the downfall of the Dallas Mavericks. Are they cursed? Did you know that they even just raised ticket prices? And we're also going to look at 2 other potential NBA long-term disasters in the 76ers with Embiid and the Spurs with Wemby's injury. So what's up, Mike here, and you are not going to believe this. The Dallas Mavericks do not outright own any of their picks from 2027 to 2030. You heard that correctly. In 2027, they do have a top 2 protection that could save them, but from 2028 to 2030, the Thunder, Rockets, and Spurs all have a right to swap picks with the Mavericks, which means if things really go south here, this could be an absolute disaster, even worse than we previously thought. This would be on the level of the mid-2010 Brooklyn Nets, who essentially gave the Celtics their 2016 and 2017 draft picks for an old Paul Pierce and Kevin Garnett in a trade, and the Celtics used those picks to get Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. Now, at the time of that trade, many actually said the Nets won, as no one thought the Nets were going to implode like they did. At the time of this trade, every single person except for Nico Harrison has said that Dallas has already lost, but we did not think they would implode like this. Mavs fans are booing their management. They're holding coffins outside their stadium.
Then there were items you would see at a funeral, including a casket with pallbearers playing the theme from Titanic.
And while we love Kyrie, we hope the best for Kyrie. A torn ACL at 33 years old is going to be tough to recover fully from. We saw Kobe tear his Achilles at 35. No matter how hard Kobe worked, and we know Kobe works hard, he was just never the same player before he retired. Now, both Kyrie and Kobe did give us legendary moments after being injured, as just like Kobe, Kyrie earned the ultimate level of respect as he went back to the free throw line after injury and showed just how strong of a man he truly is.
For those wondering why is he shooting the free throws, if there's a possibility of him coming back to the game.
You gotta get him off.
It's fine.
Somehow though, even this injury is getting linked back to the horrible Luka trade, as since Luka was traded, the Mavericks needed Kyrie to carry their team, and going into his injury game, he had just averaged 39.3 minutes a game in his last 10 games, the most by any player in the NBA. The 1970 Celtics, 1999 Bulls, the 2005 Lakers, the 2015 Heat, the 2019 Cavs, and 2020 Warriors all have one thing in common. Can you guess what it is? They missed the playoffs 1 season after reaching the NBA Finals. All of these teams also have another common denominator in the fact that they lost a superstar. The Celtics lost Bill Russell, the Bulls lost Michael Jordan, the Lakers lost Shaq, the Heat lost LeBron, the Cavs lost LeBron, and the Warriors lost KD, while also Steph Curry was injured. The Mavericks have now lost their Wonderboy. If Dallas had simply kept Luka, there would be no catastrophe, but this trade keeps getting worse. Do I actually believe in curses? No. The Red Sox, though, did go 86 years before winning another championship after selling Babe Ruth to the New York Yankees. Somehow, the entire Mavericks roster has seemingly suffered injury after injury. Derek Lively is out with a stress fracture in his ankle. Daniel Gafford suffered an MCL sprain. Jaden Hardy sprained his ankle. Just 1 year before, the Mavs were in the NBA Finals and the future looked as bright as possible. How have they fallen so far so quickly? We know the answer. We know it's Nico Harrison. Let's also remember, Nico traded Kristaps Porzingis for Davis Bertans and Spencer Dinwiddie, and oh yeah, that's right, he chose to not re-sign Jalen Brunson, despite the fact that it was reported that before the 2022 season, Brunson would have accepted a 4-year, $55 million extension. A bargain by today's prices. How does this man still have a job? Is he a plant to make the Knicks relevant again, to bring the Lakers back into the spotlight? I'm kidding, but only kind of. For the Philadelphia 76ers, the question is, can a trip to Germany save Joel Embiid? Another question is, can you save my day by subscribing to the channel if you are enjoying this content? Only if you're enjoying the content, please subscribe and turn on post notifications. In 2011, Kobe Bryant went to Germany to get a platelet-rich plasma treatment, and before his torn Achilles in the 2014 season, Kobe actually averaged a combined 27.6 points, 5.5 rebounds, and 5.4 assists per game between the ages of 33 and 34 after this treatment was done. Joel Embiid is looking for a similar career-saving treatment. However, I will just say things are starting to look bleak for everyone involved, because we need to remember Joel is signed until 2029 when he has a $67 million player option. Because of this ridiculous contract that the Sixers themselves agreed to, it has already been reported that Philly is trying to look and force Embiid to medically retire next season, potentially. That will only happen if Embiid does not play for an entire year straight. And then an independent doctor would come in, evaluate if Embiid has a future in playing basketball, and if that doctor said he doesn't, the Sixers would be able to void the tremendous contract they owe him. But the thing is here, let's just be realistic. Joel Embiid has come back from injury time and time again. The man is owed $60 million a season until 2029. So as long as he's able to stay healthy enough, as long as he's able to play 20 minutes a game, even play 20 games a season, you're going to be finding Embiid sitting on the Sixers bench, occasionally going out there to play and destroying their salary cap. The thing is, I don't blame Joel Embiid at all here. For one thing, injuries suck. They are a part of basketball, but we've watched them derail Kawhi Leonard's career, Derrick Rose's career. It happens. It always is unfortunate. The other thing though is, it is very possible that the Sixers' own medical staff absolutely screwed Joel Embiid here. Listen to this. On February 24th, about 2 weeks ago, when asked if Embiid was going to be shut down for the rest of the season, Sixers head coach Nick Nurse said the Sixers were, quote, not at that point at all. Just again, we are playing and testing, trying to figure it out and go from there. Of course, since that comment, Embiid is not only shut down, but they're trying to medically retire the man. Things have taken such a drastic turn, seemingly out of nowhere, if we were just relying on Nick Nurse's words. But if we're actually watching the game, if we're actually watching Joel Embiid play, we have seen that he's been fighting through injury this entire year. This is where the Sixers staff might be to blame. You can decide, but in order to get Joel Embiid on the court this year, the 76ers medical staff has given Embiid frequent injections into his left knee. They have done this to one of the most injury-prone superstars we have ever seen, and their reasoning has been that they don't think that rest is going to heal him. Instead, they believe that playing through it and gaining new muscle is going to help this injury. I'm not a doctor. That does not sound right at all. And to make matters even worse, the Sixers are 21-40. They are forcing injections into Embiid's knee to make him play for a 21-win team. I'm not sure what they're possibly thinking. This is a sad case for Embiid because he has still shown flashes of greatness. His MVP season was just 2 years ago. But now, according to Ramona Shelburne, Embiid might have to have another surgery. He might get a meniscus repair, a meniscus transplant, or an osteotomy, which is a procedure where doctors would purposely break a bone in order to realign his body. This all sounds terrible, and whatever the case may be, Paul George is also owed over $56 million in 2028. It is very likely that the process is over. At this point in time, if the Sixers were to win a championship with Embiid, I would say that would be one of the greatest franchise comebacks we have ever seen in all of sports. It is much more likely that the Sixers are going to be forced to rebuild sometime soon, which is very unfortunate for Tyrese Maxey. We may see him in another jersey soon. Finishing off with Wemby and his season-ending deep vein thrombosis. We have to ask, should we be worried long-term here? This is a condition where blood clots form in a vein deep within the body, and it's serious. Chris Bosh's career ended way too early due to blood clot issues. Those started in his lungs, however, and then popped up also in his legs. That is hopefully what is the difference here between someone like Chris Bosh and someone like Victor Wembanyama. Bosh had a condition where the clotting popped back up, and that is what ended up ultimately causing his retirement. A quote from a San Antonio doctor reveals to us, if they find that it's just a mysterious clot, it got treated and it won't happen again, great, he's back, no big issue. So there's a chance that Wemby is just fine next season. However, the same doctor also said, if he has some reason to be forming these clots, then that may complicate matters and may need to be treated further on. Fortunately, looking at the good side here, both Brandon Ingram and Asar Thompson are two players in the current NBA who notably had the exact same issues and are currently fine. Ingram's blood clot problems popped up in 2019, and while he's currently missing time with a sprained ankle, the clotting issues have been fine. Really, with this situation, what we're all hoping for is that it's a one-off, because blood clot issues are no joke at all. If this went undiscovered, it has been reported that it could have caused a life-threatening issue, so I am praying for Wemby to make a full recovery. I am hoping for the best here, and if we are assuming the best does happen, there will be good news to this serious matter, as the Spurs currently have the 9th pick in the draft and are of course now trending downward without Wemby. They also have the 10th pick in the draft as they own the Hawks pick this year, which means that the Spurs are going to be able to draft 2 more young guys to help Wemby long term, or they're going to be able to package 2 top 10 picks into a trade that brings in even more talent. As long as this is not a serious long-term issue, it could end up helping San Antonio. Remember, in 1996, the Spurs won 59 games led by David Robinson, who had just won the 1995 MVP. Robinson was still in his prime. 6 games into the 1997 season, he went down with a broken foot. The Spurs ended up with the #1 pick in 1997, which got them the greatest power forward of all time in Tim Duncan. Duncan helped the Spurs win a championship just 2 seasons later. Duncan ended up as a 2-time MVP, a 5-time NBA champion. So there really is a silver lining here for San Antonio potentially, as long as Wemby is fine long term. So thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you are new to the channel, make sure to subscribe and turn on post notifications. That way you never miss another video. If you're already subscribed, thank you so much for supporting. You are awesome. We all know it. And as always, have an awesome day and cue that music.